Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of our show From Logo to Impact. I'm Vikram Oza. Here's what we've lined up on the show this time. Is your mobile screen going to become the next big target for advertisers? What's the future of in-app advertising looking like? We're tuning in to dense Snapdeal's plans for growth in the great Indian teleshopping market. Also, we break down the new campaign from Maruti Suzuki for their Celerio. And as usual, we'll get you your humorous ad of the week. This one too will leave you in split. You might recall that in March this year, homegrown e-commerce giant Flipkart acquired a Bengaluru-based mobile advertisement company at equity. This for an undisclosed amount. But only last week, the fruits of this strategic acquisition have become apparent, because Flipkart has announced that by February 2016, they're going to start displaying native and video ads on their mobile app, a new potentially key business with its Flipkart brand stories ad format. The company is encouraging its advertising clients now to shift their marketing efforts from the desktop to the mobile. But will this latest move by Flipkart be a real game changer in the larger e-commerce ecosystem? That's what we're asking. After all, considering the Chinese e-commerce behemoth Alibaba generates more than 55% of its sales from ads, the question is, will others follow suit as well? We speak to brands and mobile tech companies and find out what the future holds for e-commerce in-app advertising. Could it become the next big thing? We find out in this, our top story.
Search engine Google and social networking site Facebook dominate the online and mobile advertising space globally as well as in India. But e-commerce companies like Flipkart that have garnered large consumer traffic and data over the past couple of years are also now considering targeting shoppers across their platform. Prompted by their growing seller base and high adoption of smartphones. Valued at over $11 billion, Flipkart first started dabbling with advertising a year ago with a few banner ads. But recently, it's put its weight behind the ad sales vertical in the last 6 months. If successful, Flipkart's move into in-app advertising can provide a much-needed boost to margins and create an additional large revenue stream. So with a view to gaining the first mover advantage here, Flipkart is launching its brand ads platform, which will connect advertisers with the right audience at the right time through a brand story format.
M-commerce has taken over e-commerce by fair distance. In fact, Flipkart leads that game. And, we have close to about 300, mobile / internet connected users, and that number is growing. What this means is, yet there's only 2% of current advertising spend is around mobile advertising, right? And there's a uncharted, unexploited, space or opportunity for advertisers to be connected with the consumers. So we are defining that whole space, and that overlaid with our construct called commerce advertising is completely a unique solution.
Not only does an app provide a more accessible platform to users, for brands it could really be a game changer, as it allows them to catch the very consumers they're targeting at a crucial juncture.
See, the person who goes into an e-commerce portal is clearly going with a shopping intent. So capturing an audience when he's focused on his shopping intent, I think, is one of the most important aspects any brand would like to aspire for and dream of from an audience reach perspective. So that makes an e-commerce value proposition from an advertising perspective extremely effective and efficient. Second part is in terms of saying that the whole audience journey from being aware of a particular brand to being discovering a particular brand in a particular format of an e-commerce environment is extremely useful from a client's perspective. So I think these 2 points make the in-app advertising on an e-commerce portal extremely important and crucial.
The mobile ad market in India is booming, with studies showing that India represents 7.4% of the world's mobile app ad clicks, which translates to a 164.3% increase in 1 year. This is also partly because in-app advertising offers a number of variations in terms of formats for brands looking to advertise here. So what format works best and can give a brand the maximum in terms of visibility and engagement?
So with various conversations we are having with marketplace platforms, the format which is sticking really well is native ads. Because look at it this way, that consumers are looking for various items there, and right now native seems to be the right format which can blend in a commerce platform.
While the boom in m-commerce and mobile app advertising is a good thing for brands, there is also a flip side.
I think the cons are that I think the advertising formats that one can actually get from a brand communication point of view are slightly lesser than what in-app advertising would be. And sometimes what happens is it may irritate the users if the ad sort of interrupts what you're doing, because the way search and other advertising formats on the internet were built, they rarely interrupted the user, while in-app advertising, especially for free apps, can be irritating at times.
Ad spends in India are expected to touch rupees 49,000 crores next year, and a sizable chunk of this could go into mobile rather than online. This is a huge opportunity for apps to get a clutch of brands on board as advertisers. But how are brands themselves viewing this space?
Well, so, the in-app advertising piece has evolved significantly over the last year or so, and Yes Bank has been a fairly early adopter in this space. And so, in fact, if I give you an example, we target NRIs all the time, and the conventional digital mediums were fairly saturated, and that's where we tried and sampled the in-app space, and we met with some phenomenal results. So the traffic on mobile for Yes Bank increased by 600%. Our CPCs are down to 1/7 of what it used to be, and the cost per leads are down by a half. So I think all in all, from a brand perspective, it just works very well if more platforms with high traffic such as Flipkart and various other e-com players open up their apps for brands like us to be present.
Marketplaces like Snapdeal, like Flipkart have the largest customer databases. So it obviously amplifies brands' reach, which is a very difficult task on Google, difficult and costly task on Google and Facebook. It is very impactful because it allows you certain behavioral targeting. There's a customer profiling that these companies do. So on that basis, targeting becomes a lot more impactful. And of course, there's the fact of full transparency, which basically means that retargeting and data mining and the rich data gives you a lot of those options for the future as well. So it's basically all across the value chain. We think that it's a complete win-win solution.
Ultimately, brands are going to go where their customers are going. And it's clear that Indian shoppers are very quickly taking on shopping through apps. Also, with deep data insights on consumers, e-commerce is clearly in a sweet spot to make the most of this shift. But whether this same formula that worked for e-commerce websites holds true for apps as well, that remains to be seen. For the moment, we'll take a quick break. After that, we'll be talking to Manish Goyal, the CEO at Den Snapdeal TV shop. We'll find out what's cooking over there. Do join us. Welcome back to this edition of our show From Logo to Impact. Now, at a time that we're talking about how e-commerce companies are growing, there is an e-commerce company that has made inroads when you talk about tele-shopping, and the one that we're talking about is Snapdeal. They've been in the business of tele-shopping for about 10 or 11 months with the Den Snapdeal TV shop network that they've got going for themselves. And Manish Goyal, CEO of the company, is joining us on the show to tell us more about this. So I'm looking at the kind of numbers that you have been able to gain over a very short period of time. So one wonders where the real business is. Is it e-commerce, or is tele-shopping, really complementing, or is it actually competing with what you're doing on the e-commerce space?
Clearly complementing each other, because we address the different segments in the market. E-commerce is all about the large cities, the connected people. TV shopping addresses the needs of people who have resources, who are available in markets where internet has not reached as much, or they're not comfortable shopping online, and that's where they find TV as an engaging medium, TV which informs them about a lot of products, its utility, how it's used in the real life. We do a whole bunch of things to explain how these products help them in their life and so on and so forth.
I mean, value of television is something that I discuss with advertisers so much on this show itself, because the efficiency of the medium, that hasn't vanished despite the growth of digital, etc. That hasn't gone away. So it's interesting that you're looking at this space so closely, and you've tied up with a cable network to be able to do that. While many others have gone the route of existing channels and buying time slots on it, you've decided to tie up with a cable network. So tell us what the thought process was, even when you started.
All right. So, others, do a lot of slot buying. So they're not a 24/7 channel. We wanted to launch a 24/7 channel, and the biggest difficulty any broadcaster would face is to, get distribution reach across, every single home, Indian home that you have there. Den has about 13 million homes that they reach out to. So we get that, by default. But other than that, Den has strategic relationships with everybody. They understand the market. They know where the consumers are. They know where the buying power is. And therefore, our ability to reach out to those homes and, make the right decisions as to which home to go to, what price to pay for, reaching there, is far, far better than anybody in the competition.
Right.
And that makes sense.
Absolutely. So then once you have established this partnership, and now that you're 10 to 11 months into it, in terms of return on investment so far, how's it looking? How are the numbers really panning out?
So, when one thinks of e-commerce, you basically imagine burning a lot of cash, either advertising or discounting or, creating, huge capacities and resources and not being able to, leverage that well. But our philosophy has been totally different. We decided from day one that, we will go step by step in terms of investing into various resources, various infrastructure, only and only when we see returns. So be it distribution network, where we started with 4 million homes and now we reach about 50 million homes. So we gradually increased our distribution reach as we see, sales coming in. Similarly, on production side, the content production, we have not yet set up our own studios, and we outsource a lot of work, which actually works out well for us from a cost efficiency standpoint. Snapdeal being one of our parent companies, we leverage a lot of strengths from them, and we haven't really built a lot of, capability in-house to do either sourcing or logistics and things like that.
Right.
So if you look at the whole thing, we have been able to use our money, our capital very, very efficiently, and with very small, amount of money, we have built a 400 crore business, in about 10, 11 months.
400 crore rupee business in 10, 11 months. That doesn't sound too bad. So in that sense, the size of the market right now, what's your assessment of it? Because through a cable network as large as Den may be right now, it is giving you a limited kind of access to the kind of potential that India as a market has. So what are the chances that you're going to expand this? And if you are going to expand, then are you going to take the cable distribution route, or are you going to look at, again, buying into channels?
All right. So first, we're not just available on Den. We're available on about 25 different cable operators, which includes Fastway, City Cable, INC, and a whole bunch of others.
Right.
We have recently started, growing on the DTH network as well. So we are on, Reliance, we are on Videocon, we are on Dish. So clearly, we're not going to restrict our reach. So like I mentioned, we have about 50 million homes that we currently reach. I think, we plan to get to about 100 million in next 3 to 4 months' time.
So in that sense, the pace of growth is much faster. What are the chances that you are going to be directing your resources at the point in time that people are looking only at going the app-only route? Is there going to be more concentration on television as opposed to the many other routes that you could be taking to expand your business?
All right. So, clearly it is T-commerce. It's on TV, right? But we won't, restrict ourselves to doing only TV. I think technology can help us in a big way. QVC in the US does about $6 billion of business. India overall, all the players put together, does only $1 billion. So in a market which is very, very internet, penetrated, heavy, everybody has reach, yet QVC is able to do $6 billion of business annually.
Right.
How they do it is they take use of the TV strength, obviously, but they also, leverage their rich content across various mediums, be it the, website or the mobile apps or anything else like that. And we plan to, leverage all of that in our business as well. So clearly, you will see in times to come, we coming up with a website as well as apps.
Right. In terms of categories, what's really working out for you? What's selling more and what isn't?
I think the trends are fairly in line with what e-commerce experiences. So, we have access to data in Snapdeal. And electronics, seems to be the biggest category there, and so is the case with us, followed by fashion, because that's the category which gives us, the highest margins.
Sure.
And then comes the home category.
Right. So then, in terms of category expansion, because there are opportunities out there as well, because, in recent times, I've even seen yachts being put up online to be sold,
okay.
but,
So, coming from the philosophy that our, parent company Snapdeal follows, they're selling automobile, they're selling real estate, they're selling everything under the sun,
right.
okay? I think we're going to do pretty much the same. So we are already doing insurance for about 6 months, so we sell Mediclaim, okay? We have done electric scooters in the past. Soon we're going to come up with, holiday packages and club memberships and things like that. So I think innovation is the name of the game.
And there's fair amount of parity in terms of prices or for the kind of products that you're selling on an e-commerce site like a Snapdeal, if I'm going to come on the desktop and if I'm going to buy it on television?
E-commerce prices vary a lot. There is a lot of dynamism based on, what others are selling at, what, sellers are going to offer for very limited inventory if they want to discount and so on and so forth. So their prices will be dynamic. But our prices are by and large firm. We do not have ability to move them a lot. And there is so our business is not a comparison-led business. That's one. Second, I think from the point of view of the average selling price, internet does a lot of high value sales as well as a lot of low value, low ticket size sales as well. So, you can buy a pen drive for $200. We do not sell products in that range.
Right.
It just does not work for us. So for us, the average or the sweet price point would be about 1,500 to 2,500.
Right. So if that is the case, to be able to grow that kind of market, what is the strategy that you're employing to engage more viewership?
We have not done any active marketing so far. Everything that we communicate to our audience is on our own platform. What we have seen is if I have a Independence Day sale coming up or a anniversary that we just had from the launch date or at least the pilot date or Diwali or anything, we come up with some offer.
Right.
Okay, we communicate on the channel and we see huge response. Now going outside of this, we tried doing some things, but in specific markets, we did not see impact because we did it only for a short period of time.
Like what?
So we launched a campaign in Punjab and Karnataka,
right,
where we went on TV, on print. However, the messaging was, a very simple messaging that we exist beyond going to say that, we're discounting or, this is the proposition that you stand for.
Right.
Things like that.
Fair enough. And this festive season, how has that worked out for you? Have you seen an upsurge in sales?
Both October and November. So we launched a 1 month long Diwali sale. We offered customers about 1 crore worth of prizes, which were to be won over 30 days. And, you will have about 20 to 50 guys winning prizes.
Sure.
That, brought a lot of goodness to us.
There is competition. You can't take that away, and you are a last mover in this kind of space. So as far as competition is concerned, how do you think this is actually going to work out for you?
Let me answer this differently, okay? Pretty much the 3 large players, Home Shop 18, Shop CJ and Naptol, they've been in the business for 5+ years.
Correct.
Okay, I don't think, barring Naptol to some extent, the other 2 players have seen much growth. However, we have been able to gain quite a lot of ground with very basic setup that we have, with very basic approach that we've taken in the business. So if we start making progress in the kind of products that we bring in, the kind of brands that we work with, in the way we position ourselves and we increase our distribution reach, I don't see a reason why we'll not overtake at least 2 or 3 players and take the leadership position. So that's one. 2, I think the only thing which has worked for Naptol in this period is that they have actually worked very hard on taking their programming to you at any place that they can find. However, in my view, that's not a very capital efficient way of running business.
Right.
So at some point of time, I think they should feel the heat. Rather than discounting the products, they're spending money on distribution, which may not have very, very sustainable long-term value.
Right. And since we talked about categories, I also want to ask you in terms of being able to partner with private labels as well, because the margins over there would be that much higher. So is that a good route to take? Because there are several ways in which you can beat the competition. So where is the strategy on that count?
Home shopping is all about quality products yet delivering value. Private labels play a huge, huge role in that. Okay, so you're trying to work with a small, manufacturer or an importer who can actually source great quality products at a price which actually makes sense for you as a business and the consumer, because they find value, good quality product, and they don't have to shell out the money for what they will for established brands.
Right.
So the strategy clearly works. Now, how do you ensure that the brand gets established over time? How do you ensure the quality is consistent? How do you ensure there is no issue in your relationship with the seller, and everything works well over time? So I think we are working with a couple of guys, and we should come out with a couple of private labels that we can establish on our channel.
So that's an important part of the business, and you'd like to grow that in the future as well.
Without a doubt.
Right. Manish, good luck going ahead with the entire network that you've got going for yourself, and 10 to 11 months, the kind of numbers that we are seeing. Seems like there is a lot of promise in it. Thank you indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And with that, we'll take a very quick breather here on this edition of the show. Lots more coming up on the flip side. Welcome back. Now, India's largest car maker, Maruti Suzuki, has launched a new ad campaign for its youngest hatchback, the Celerio. The Aaj Ke Zamane Ki Leap campaign is aimed at the young, the progressive consumer of today to reflect their mindsets and position the Celerio as a new age, youthful, compact car. Nima Namchu is the Chief Creative Officer at Havas Worldwide and breaking it down for us.
क्या हुआ? मूड खराब है?
Bouncer पे bouncer, bouncer पे bouncer. कौन मार दे इतना bouncer? Not fair.
Look, I think they're trying to appeal to the younger audience, and now in a very crowded market of a lot of small cars, I think they were trying to position themselves as a brand or a car which is with the times. But while the stories are sweet and very cute, they seem to lack a certain amount of disruption value.
पापा देखो मैंने जगह भी ले ली. अभी लड़कों की तरह क्यों रो रहा है? बेबी लीकी नहीं. पापा देखो ना.
भाई विनिंग टीम की कैप्टन है, मैं तो पंगे नहीं लूंगा.
Cheater.
I think you'll probably get lost in the crowded television set. That's about it. Otherwise, I think it was nice. It was to the brief. It's quite very faithful to the brief. Maybe too faithful to the brief, so which is why it stops being disruptive. So probably will not stand out.
आज के ज़माने की लीप, best in class cabin space के साथ, the stylish Maruti Suzuki Celerio.
At the same time, I don't know how much people are going to believe in the fact that Maruti is with the times, because deep in the consumer's mind, I don't know if Maruti is seen as a with it or progressive brand.
पापा, you're right. Girls को driving हम boys जितनी अच्छी नहीं आती है.
Okay. Men are born drivers.
Because in the past few years, for several years actually, Maruti has lost that edge. It's become a brand for the mass, not necessarily a brand which is at the cutting edge of technology.
डायलॉग बाजी हो गई हो तो ऑटो गियर शिफ्ट को ड्राइव मोड में डाले.
Just joking.
चलो चलो सिखाती हूँ.
Okay.
आज के ज़माने की लीप, ऑटो गियर शिफ्ट के साथ, the stylish Maruti Suzuki Celerio.
And that's where we're wrapping things up on this edition of our show, From Logo to Impact. But as usual, we're going to leave you with a humorous ad of the week, brought to you by Big Magic, your one-stop comedy channel. Enjoy this, but make sure your boss isn't watching. Bye-bye.
Hello? I heard you called in sick today. So, when can I expect you back?